Welcome back to Radio Shack. As you can see, I'm finally here to give you my top 10 episodes of the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. And this is pretty tough coming up with the top 10 episodes just because they are pretty much all good episodes. Now, don't be surprised if none of your episodes are on this list because this is my personal list. I don't think there is a real definitive list. Everyone has their own opinion. And like I said, this is pretty tough coming up with this list, but these are some of my favorite episodes to watch of this series. So without further ado, let's get into it, starting off with Rise of the Turtles Part 1. Now, some people may be surprised that this is on the list, but this, obviously being the pilot, this is what sets the tone for the series. And obviously we know it's going to be very action-packed and it's going to be very funny when we start this off. As we see them training with Master Splinter, we obviously are going to get the backstory of how they came to be. And I love the way they do it out of celebrating a happy mutation day. I thought that was really great. And not only that, this is them going up to the surface world for the first time and discovering everything, even pizza for the first time, which I thought was pretty nice. And not only that, trying to find out what mutagen is. They run into April as her father is being kidnapped by the Krang for the first time. And like I said, this really is what sets the tone for the series, and I thought it was a pretty good way to start off the series. Next is the Gauntlet. Now, the Gauntlet is kind of one of my personal favorite episodes just because we're dealing with turtles who have become really confident, maybe even overconfident, even cocky, just because they feel that they can handle everything. And not only that, they're getting ready to go try to save April's father from the Krang, which doesn't really go well as they have to go stop a mutagen bomb while also dealing with Zevver and Bradford, as we actually get to see their mutation. And to end off the episode, we get to see the first confrontation between the Turtles and the Shredder, which I thought was a pretty awesome fight. That is one of my personal favorite episodes. Next is Oshiroshi no Tabi. Obviously, this is the middle part of the Samurai Turtles arc, as we have finally gotten Usagi Yojimbo into the series, which I thought was great, introducing him in the first episode. But this is where it kind of gets down to the meat of the arc, as we get a little back and forth of who's right in leading the group between Leo and Asagi. And not only that, we get to deal with some creatures going through the episode. And look, what I really like about this episode is where we get the ending, where we get this little dream sequence, which could be said a little horrifying dream sequence, as we get a battle between the Turtles and Jay, which was crazy, and it has you thinking, is Jay still in their head, because we saw them mind controlled in the first part of the arc. But yeah, I love this episode. I love Usagi in this story arc as a whole, but this episode was my favorite part. Coming up next is Invasion Part 2. I love this finale. This is without a doubt one of my favorite finales, but obviously we're dealing with the Krang invasion, and we get to see a little, and we also get to see how much of a beast Leo actually is, as he gets to take down a whole bunch of footbots and take down a whole bunch of Shredder's mutants. And obviously we get that iconic scene of Leo getting tossed through the window. But not only that, in this episode we get another great confrontation between the Shredder and Master Splinter, who, well, after Shredder just dealt with Leatherhead, which I thought was pretty awesome. But that went down, and obviously there's the part where some of the Turtles watch this go down, and we see Shredder actually throw Splinter down the pipeline. And this is probably my highlight of the episode. I mean, it may not for everybody else, but this is my highlight of the episode, when we see that happen and Raph just goes off in a little rampage, and Mikey just comes up and hugs him, and I just thought that was a great moment for Raph and Mikey. It was a great moment for them, I thought. Next up is Annihilation Earth Part 2. Now this is definitely one of my favorite finales, just because we get to finally see the Triceratons in all the glory, because they are one of my favorite villains of the realm of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we're dealing with a black hole generator. Not only that, in this episode we get to see mutants we have met throughout the series team up to try to take down these Triceratons. And not only that, we have to team up with the Shredder and his gang of mutants to try to stop this from going on. And obviously everyone knows that the heartbreaking moment of when Shredder and Splinter are trying to stop the black hole generator, and you know what happens. You know a villain is good where you have never been so mad at a villain. So that was the highlight moment of when I knew that Shredder was a great villain in this series. But that was heartbreaking. But not only that, seeing the destruction of the Earth going into that black hole was just insane. But next is the good, the bad, and Casey Jones. This is probably another one of my personal favorite episodes, just because we're seeing Casey for the first time going out vigilanting, and we're dealing with Raph still having his temper problems, and they get into a little confrontation, which is a pretty good fight, even though Casey does get the upper hand. And not only that, as we see Casey follow Raph to the lair, and after them follows a couple of Footbots, and we get to see Casey and Raph team up. That is what that was what brought joy to me, just seeing Casey and Raph team up, and they made a pretty good team. And you gotta agree with Donatello, it's like having two Raphs on the team, which is always awesome in my book. But the chemistry between the two was just so good, and love seeing them team up. So yeah, definitely one of my personal favorites. Next is Requiem. This is the second to last episode of season 4, where we're dealing with the Super Shredder still, and he has no emotion anymore and no attachment, and he's going after Karai, and everyone has to protect her as we send her to the Mighty Mutanimals lair, which is pretty awesome, by the way. And Shredder just comes through and just wrecks shop. But we do have to deal with the team splitting up, and Leo has a bad feeling about this, and Splinter is not acting the way he usually does. So something's a little off here. But get a great scene of the Turtles and Bebop and Rocksteady going at it. I thought that was a great shot. But also dealing with Master Splinter, Raph, and April, Casey going after the Super Shredder, where Shredder just takes everyone down, and we get what is the final confrontation between the Shredder and Splinter, which was hands down probably one of their greatest fights. Great fight between the two, and we think Splinter has the upper hand, but when Leo and the others pull up and he's looking through his telescope and he lets out that horrifying scream, and you know what happens, man. You already know. I mean, this topped even Annihilation Earth of what just happened, man. That was real. There was so much emotion going on. I just couldn't take it, man. Next up is a Warrior, which is the season finale of season 4, which arguably could have been said to be the series finale, as we're dealing with what just happened in the previous episode, and we're at the funeral of Master Splinter, and all bets are off. We're going for Super Shredder, and I love this just because it's kind of like an Enter the Dragon type of episode, going from level, just trying to get to the top to face the Super Shredder. And when the Turtles go up against Super Shredder, I thought it was really awesome. But it all comes down to Leo and Super Shredder. Awesome fight, and when you just see Leo come out with the helmet of the Shredder, you knew what happened. You knew what went down. But we get to see everyone together saying their final goodbyes to Master Splinter. Like I said, it was a great finale, which could have been the series finale. It was a nice bow on the series to me. Next up is Tales of the Yokai. Obviously, this is part of the Turtles in Time arc, as we see them land in Japan, and we see the origin of the rivalry between Master Splinter and Shredder, aka Hamato Yoshi, and Hiroko Saki, as they're battling for the affection of Shen. And like I said, this is a pretty good episode dealing with the origin of the Shredder, you know. And not only that, getting to see the turtles take down a couple of the Foot, as we see Saki actually go and reveal that he was really a part of the Foot Clan. Obviously, during that confrontation, we see Shredder actually attack Shen by accident, and that just that's so emotional in that episode. But not only that, at the end of the episode, we actually find out that the turtles had to be there to make sure Splinter survived. And last but not least, if you didn't think this episode was going to be on the list, here it is: Lone Rat and Cubs, with what could be probably my favorite episode, my favorite arc in the tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like I said before, this is my favorite version of Master Splinter, and him telling the younger version of the Turtles of how they came to be where they are now, you know, and seeing how much of a BA he was taking care of the baby turtles. And I can't lie, the baby turtles were cute. Sue me, you know. And seeing how the Krang were coming after them, you know, because they wanted to study them, you know. And seeing him taking care of the turtles just because he doesn't want to lose another family, you know, remembering Shen and Miwa. I don't know. This is just a great episode. And seeing the origin of why the turtles have the weapons that they do, you know, it's just great. But yeah, that is my top 10 episodes. If any of your episodes were on my list, let me know in the comment section, and let me know what episodes are your favorites. But you know, I do have some honorable mentions. You know, I have Transdimensional Turtles, I have Vision Quest, and what's my other one? Oh yeah, Baxter's Gambit. Those are my honorable mentions. But again, let me know what your favorite episodes are in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. And as always, if you enjoy my thoughts, make sure you like, subscribe. My last video, link subscribe below. And until my next video, I will see you later. Turtle power.